You don't seem to rate Bobi Wine highly, at least from the statements I've seen you make. What would you consider his biggest strengths as a leader?
I have known Bobi Wine as a musician. He one time invited me and I visited his Kamocha base, took me around. At that time we were involved in a walk-to-work protest. And he told me I had composed a song, Baleke Batambule, and he was asking me if that song will be of help. I think from my knowledge, either he was a supporter of Dr. Besigye or he supported FDC, I don't know. Because when I contested for Parliament in 2011, he used to facilitate my team that we are moving in Magira. That time I was MP for Chadondo East. So he's made his contribution. And his rise to even become the main opposition presidential candidate, I think must also have surprised him. It's not something that I think he prepared himself. One time we get arrested during the age limit remove. We were put in the same van. I was with him, Alan Sewanyana, Odongo Oto, Sechikubo, Gerard Karahanga, Oguzuli, driven to Nagarama. One group was left in Chira. On our way to Nagarama, we stopped near that residence of former Vice President Specius Wandera Kazu. They had locked the vehicle, he couldn't breathe. And he said during his campaign that brought him in Parliament, he had said, Bikwase Chagulanyi. And he said, I didn't know these things are going to be like this. Tough. So he's made his contribution. But from his background, he doesn't have capacity to construct a political party in the real sense of a political party. And usually the supporters in Uganda even make things worse. I saw that in FDC. That people thought Besigye should be bigger than FDC. As long as Besigye is there, it doesn't matter whether you've institutionalized and built a stronger party. And one time I had a fight with them because I kept saying and giving examples when I was heading Montu's campaign. I consume services of MTN, Airtel, and others. I don't know who the CEOs are. They have concentrated on building brands than on building themselves. In Uganda, I think Bobi Wine, he has concentrated on building himself more than building an institution that will have a lasting impact. And that's why his absence can easily be felt. That's a war I fought in FDC, and I told the people, yes, Besigye is a human being. There will be a day when Besigye is not there. We should concentrate our efforts on building an institution and not on building and glorifying individuals. But also you must understand, I mean, the truth should be said. Where was Bobi Wine maybe 7-10 years ago? What experience does he have to run the country and to run a political party? He's very popular, he was eloquent, and he easily won following. But is he able to process that following into managerial capabilities? That I think I doubt, and I want to be truthful. I like him, we've met before. We may disagree in the politics, but I don't think he has capacity to process his popularity into, as I said, the managerial capability to run a party, but also to run a country. That I don't think. Does that mean that for one to be a leader in his capacity, you need certain level of experience to lead the opposition? You're going to run Uganda. A country. First of all, even if you don't run Uganda, even the opposition itself, I have worked with Besigye. He has his own shortcomings. Maybe because the ideologies and the background is different. Besigye believed in working with everybody in this struggle against the life presidency and family rule. I think Bobi Wine believed in himself and his group and then they thought they should be the one to do this. The rest, you can go home, we'll do this work alone. So and I celebrated when he came in, because in the past you had only politicians participating. When you begin having other people, musicians, lawyers, and so on and so forth join, you have to celebrate it. But along the way, we lost it because he became a property of his own group, and the group was using him as a weapon against any other. At one time, the fight against the opposition was even more fierce than the fight against NRM. And the moment you begin fighting yourself, certainly, you see, when Museveni was in the way of fighting, there were other groups. Nkwanga was here, Kaira was here, even Moses Ali was in Western Nile fighting. They had meetings, and at one time, they said, we will need to work together, even if every group stays where it is. But we need to be working for the same goal. And that's why after capturing power, Kaira was in government, his death, controversial death notwithstanding, Moses Ali was in government. So you've got to learn to work with others, because even if you take over government, it's not going to be a government of your own supporters. It's going to be a government to serve the whole country. But as I said, his background, and because he rose very quickly, becoming an MP, becoming a presidential candidate, forming a party, and running for president. That period may not have prepared him, but moving forward, he will need to learn to work with others.
Would you say opposition under him has been weakened, or it's stronger?
It's not him who has weakened it, because even if it was West or any other person, Museveni may have taken advantage, because all of us have our weak points, and Museveni may take advantage of your weak points. The weakening of the opposition is something that Museveni has been working on for a very long time. You even become weak at the moment you seek to work alone and with only your group, because you become the target for the regime. The way they have targeted NOP is the same way they were targeting FDC. At the beginning, the FDC survived because they had many leaders from everywhere. So even if they concentrated on Westgate, there would be Muntu, there would be others, the Latigos, and so on and so forth. There was Nanas, the Mushegas, and so on. The moment you become alone and seek to elevate yourself above everybody, you're going to be a target, obviously, and then it is easier to crush you, because in the mind of Museveni and his group is that the moment we finish this one, this group is finished.
Is that a major mistake you hoped you should have avoided?
Yes, because when you work with
you were serving alongside him,
we have had a discussion. He has even
to offer advice.
He has even visited my home. We have had discussions, private. Agreed. Sometimes you may agree, because human beings are human beings. Today you agree and someone does something, but he has come home and we've sat in my sitting room and I've told him I don't think this is right. So I didn't want to offer my advice publicly to him, but we have had a discussion. Anyone who wants to fight the operation in Uganda must do so with others, even if you have the following of everybody. Because you may have the following, but you are not going to deploy yourself everywhere. You need to deploy people. I remember when we were in Walk to Work, those protests that followed the 2011 elections, we formed committees for health, for legal, for finance, for everything. There are people, when Museveni was fighting in Iruwero, the fighters, the real fighters were shooting, they thought they were the only ones who were fighting. They were calling Mbabazi and the Rukairis, their external committee in Nairobi, cowards. At one time they even said they should court-martial Mama Mbabazi. That debate was there. Who is the fighter? Is it someone who carries a gun and he shoots at the enemy, or someone who plans the war, or someone who finances it? In this struggle, everybody is important, and you have to reach out. And the moment you seek to do it alone, people will step back and then leave you to do it alone.
As we end this conversation, my last question is going to be, if you were to draw the most possible scenario of what happens post-Museveni, what would it look like?
Of what happens?
Post-Museveni.
Chaos. Because
after 40 years of stability?
I don't even call it stability, because even Libya was stable for actually 43 years when Gaddafi was in charge. But because he undermined institutions and elevated himself above institutions, the collapse of Gaddafi meant the collapse of Libya. Up to now, they are still reconstructing. I don't know when it will end. What Museveni has done is what all strong men in Africa do, maybe and in the world. Because today, you had a discussion within the NRM at the beginning. I remember one time